Oh, I'm left with an opportunity. I'm left with a choice. Much like the WWE was left with a choice tonight. I just finished watching Fastlane. Here's my choice. And maybe you guys can help me out. Maybe I'll listen to my my live studio audience. I could give a review of Fastlane. I could tell you some of the things that happened, my thoughts along with some of the... Or I could be a complete and utter prick. Review, be a prick. Review, be a prick. Much like the WWE tonight, I'm sure I will make the right decision. Believe that. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, your Spaz Phoenix, your YWC Reality Check. Here to talk to you about Fastlane. It's going to be a quick video. All I've got is less than 10 bullet points to talk about the show, give you my immediate thoughts and whatnot. This is not going to be a full-out review like I would like to do because I got to go to work in the morning. That's a thing. This was a good show. I liked it. There's a whole shitload of things I'm looking forward to at WrestleMania now for damn sure. So let's kick it off. I only saw the last 15 minutes of the pre-show, but that was the important bit, wasn't it? It was Miz TV interviewing Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman hyping up his client, helping hype up Roman versus Bryan for later on tonight, and picking on Damien Sandow in the process. Damien Sandow almost stood up to the Miz, and that was it. And then Heyman left, and it was good. And I actually sent out a tweet that some people found amusing. It's like, congratulations, The Miz, you finally had an episode of Miz TV without a brawl starting. Fantastic. Starting off with the show proper, we had what I didn't even know was happening. To be perfectly honest with you guys, what do we want to see? What's a match we would love to see at WrestleMania? We would love to see Rollins versus Ziggler, wouldn't we? We got Rollins, Big Show, and Kane versus Ziggler, Rowan, and Ryback. A good match. As hard to get involved in as you can imagine, with it being stuck on there last minute, etc. We won when Kane held the big. Kane held. It was an interesting little spot. Kane had Ziggler trapped in the corner, blindsided with a WMD punch from the outside, and the heels won. But that faded into utter irrelevancy when we got some RKOs out of nowhere. RKOs for everybody, J&J Security, Kane, Big Show, etc. The only one that didn't get it was Rollins, and if that's not foreshadowing for Orton versus Rollins at WrestleMania, I don't know what is. Now, I just said we would all love to see Ziggler versus Rollins at WrestleMania. This now takes precedent because there's more storyline here. There's a longer, drawn-out storyline here. Injury storyline, comeback storyline. Look at Daniel Bryan. You come back from an injury, you're going to WrestleMania. It's a thing. Guaranteed Sheamus will be back at WrestleMania too, but we didn't get any Sheamus tonight, which is something I'll get to in a second. I don't know what Ziggler does from here. Maybe we get the reformation of the team of Zig back, and they become the tag team champions, and who the tag team champions are, we'll get to that in a second as well. Sheamus, as I mentioned, was predicted in the pre-show. I also sent out another message that I amused myself with. I said, well, Sheamus is being advertised on the pre-show for his comeback soon. Sorry about your luck, Daniel Bryan. Watch your head. You know, hashtag 18 seconds, etc. He didn't show up tonight. I'm okay with that, which I'm immensely okay with that. Moving on, we got Goldust and Stardust, which everybody thinks should happen at WrestleMania, and let's be real, it will happen at WrestleMania. It was a great match. Stardust came out with his new gimmick. He's not full, like, Goldust Jr. attire anymore. He's got, like, regular wrestling tights that still have the Stardust stuff, and he's got the face painted, except for here, so it almost looks like he's painted on a Stardust lucha mask. It looks pretty cool. He lost. Goldust won, and Goldust and Dusty Rhodes are backstage. They do, you know, I won but I didn't hurt him, I hope this is over, yada yada yada. Stardust comes around and cuts this really, really wicked promo on his father after he attacks Goldust and runs down the whole, like, you know, Cody Rhodes did this, Cody Rhodes did this, Cody Rhodes achieved this, Cody Rhodes this, that, and the next thing. And he says to his dad, he says, you killed Cody Rhodes and I'm all that's left. One more sweet kick to Goldust, and Goldust hits one of the backstage, those miscellaneous black cases they've got in the back, and nice satisfying little thump. And this is the storytelling of this is fantastic. Everybody was worried that they were going to shoot their load in this match on this pay-per-view. No, this is the beginning. The takeoff from here to WrestleMania is going to be fucking fantastic. And you know what? Much like we say for a guy like Bray Wyatt, much like we say for, in the future, a guy like Finn Balor, I can't wait to see Goldust and Stardust's entrances at WrestleMania. Stardust's entrance at WrestleMania has the potential to be fucking amazing, doesn't it? Let's be real. This match, again, at WrestleMania, abso-fucking-lutely. Moving on. We have new tag team champions, and all I can say is if you didn't see this match, go see it. Go see this match. The Usos do not look too shabby in this at all. Cesaro and Kid are on top form. Natalya. You guys know I can do without Naomi. I know that there's a woman on the other side of... They brought in the fact that they're related to Bush Total Divas, and because they needed to have a woman on the other side of the ring, let's be real. Natalya was out there in what I referred to in talking to certain people as the 50 Shades of Natalya outfit. All black and, spangles and spikes and all kinds of shit. And she didn't look too bad. Just get the trademark Heart Foundation pink streak out of her hair and she'll be fine. Maybe dye her hair something other than blonde. Just saying. But Cesaro and Kid win. Fantastic match. Usos get a rematch at WrestleMania. It won't hurt my feelings at all. If you want to throw Zig back into the mix, if Ziggler doesn't end up having something else to do, then that wouldn't hurt my feelings at all either. I would want to have one proper team in there like the Usos. Cesaro and Kid are a fantastic team, but they still have that thrown together feeling. They've got the different gear. They both come out to Cesaro's music. Their in-ring work is fan-fucking-tastic, but they lack those visual things that draw them together as a team. And Ziggler and Ryback, if they choose to throw them into the mix, will suffer from the same thing. Put the three of them, triple threat match for WrestleMania, I would not mind that whatsoever. Not gonna lie. Triple H and Sting, face-to-face, because this was a match, so to speak, on the card. Really, really nice touch, and I know this is a little thing. Triple H, COO of the company, da-da-da-da-da, he's a suit, he does everything from behind a desk, he gets everybody else to do his dirty work for him, right? I like the fact he still came out to his authority Titantron or whatever, but he came out, jeans, taped up fists, the leather jacket, the t-shirt, the whole bit, the old cerebral assassin image that we love. And this guy coming out there, I swear to God, I wish they would wait until they turned him to a good guy authority figure if they were going to do the mentality that he's doing. Because if he wants to go there and proclaim himself as the heart and soul of WWE, defeating WCW one more time, I would almost want him to be face, wouldn't you? But he comes out and he sort of his character kind of teeter-totters between the corporate guy and the King of Kings, and because he's being aggressive and he's like talking about he's going to kick his ass and whatever. He was like, or you could walk away and we could keep your legacy alive on the WWE network for only $9.99. We could give you DVDs and toys and all that sort of thing. We can make you more popular than WCW ever did, which I thought was nice. And then he says, all right, you want to do it the other way, let's do it the other way. He drops his jacket, drops to the outside, and gets the symbolic Triple H sledgehammer of death. But before he can swing it, out from the trench coat comes the big black bat. And I just remember, as corny as it was and as much as it came from Batman, I remember Sting in WCW saying in his old, he was better at cutting creepy shit back then, but, riddle me this, riddle me that, who's afraid of the big black bat? I wish he had done, if they weren't keeping him totally silent, which I loved, I wish he had pulled that out again. That would have been great. But before Triple H can swing his hammer, Sting, with the butt of the baseball bat to Triple H's throat, right into the turnbuckle, till Triple H's sledgehammer falls outside. And then you get a very Undertaker-esque, let's look at the WrestleMania sign to say that we're going to fight at WrestleMania. Let's look at the Undertaker sign, or let's look at the WrestleMania sign to say that we're going to fight at WrestleMania. It's a thing. Later on in the show, it's confirmed that Triple H and Sting are going to fight at WrestleMania. And I was totally shocked. Triple H versus Sting at WrestleMania? This is totally out of the blue. Are you as shocked as I was? I truly believed in my heart of hearts that Sting had come to WWE to face Hornswoggle. Man, was I wrong. He's fighting Triple H. Guys, can you believe it? Can you feel it? In the immortal words of The Rock, can you smell it? Okay, sarcasm overload. Nikki beats Paige, which breaks my heart in a very good in some ways and bad in some ways match. Wicked Alabama Slam by Nikki Bella, I'm not going to lie. The struggle to put on the PTO I liked, because the PTO, let's be real, is a move that requires a lot of setup to do, so it shouldn't necessarily be easy to lock on. They left. Out of the attempted PTO, Nikki got a roll-up with the tights. I don't think she actually grabbed the tights. I think she just literally grabbed Paige's ass, which I don't think is necessarily cheating, but, you know, wouldn't you like to be in Nikki Bella's shoes for a couple of seconds there? But the story we're going with is that she grabbed the tights. We get a rematch between these two. WrestleMania. I wouldn't mind it one bit, not gonna lie. Ambrose versus Barrett. Now, a lot of people aren't gonna like what they did here. This was a quick match and it ended in a DQ really, really quickly. Now, here's where I like that. Much like Stardust versus Goldust, people are angry that this was kind of plucked out of nowhere and it hasn't had time to develop and whatever. This can't be the blow-off. Well, it wasn't. They got in there. They sort of, you know, brawled around a little bit. Barrett kept on trying to bail out, kept on trying to leave with his title. He tried to leave with his title. He got a suicide dive. Tried to leave again, throw him back in. Tried to escape the ring again, da-da-da. Eventually, Ambrose got him in the corner so that he couldn't leave again, and he just boot-fucked him, like, in the corner. Like, this was not a mud-hole stomping. This was an absolute unstable Dean Ambrose boot-fucking in the corner until the referee disqualified him. This is what I believe, this is truly what I believe the first step of the Ambrose versus Barrett feud is going to be. Let this start like this and develop, and again I say, put this on again at Mania. Fastlane, for a lot of different reasons, was a really, really, really jacked up episode of Raw. But I don't mind that, because that's what Elimination Chamber always was, except you had the Chamber there. But this, again, is build to WrestleMania. You put these guys, because there was a DQ finish, I want this to be a no DQ match at WrestleMania, obviously, so that when Ambrose does whatever he needs to do to keep Barrett in the ring and from running away, he doesn't get himself disqualified for it. But it was a good little bit. Like, before they got into the cat and mouse bullshit at the end, it was a good, decent little start, a good indicator of what these guys can do if given the time and the proper scenario. It was good. Then you heard the gong and the choir singing, and you saw the torches, and the druids, and the casket, and I even, Steffi Sunshine, one of the biggest Undertaker fans I know who wasn't able to be watching the show when we were all watching it, I texted her, I'm like, whatever the fuck you're doing, Undertaker. I figured 50-50, it's either a Bray Wyatt troll, or it's legit The Undertaker. It wasn't. It was Bray Wyatt. It was him inside the casket, which is kind of cool, because you think of the weaker person being the person that ends up in the casket, but then again, the mind games of Bray Wyatt. Comes out there, cuts a promo again about how he used to watch The Undertaker when he was a kid, how Undertaker used to strike fear into him, but no, he hasn't anymore. He's given into sympathy. He's given into the cries of the fans. He's in that limbo, and he said, I love the way he says this, because Undertaker is caught in limbo between your world and mine, and it's about time he came home. And it's the first time he's ever named Undertaker by name. I mean, it's a little backwards, because obviously he's calling out the Undertaker if he's using the druids in a casket and all that sort of thing. But it's the first time he mentioned the Undertaker's name by name, and he doesn't even say the Undertaker until the end of his promo. He's like, Undertaker, I'm going to drag you into my world, or I'm going to lay you to rest, or some sort of thing like that. And then he does the cross-armed lie down in the casket and leaves. It was... I wish I had written down what he said, like I usually do for Raw and SmackDown or whatever, but I was just... It was one of those things where I sort of had to... If I had my notebook, because I wasn't really taking notes tonight, but if I had had my notebook, I wouldn't have written anything, because it was just a moment that was set up magnificently well, and you almost had to, like, turn your analysis off, put the pen and paper down if you have it, and just soak it in, because you know this is going to be fucking phenomenal at WrestleMania. And you know, I know people are sending me clips on Twitter and Facebook and whatever from Michelle McCool's Instagram or whatever the fuck it is. Taker's not looking as, you know, haggard as he has in the past couple of pictures that have surfaced on No DQ. So hopefully the build for this will be great and the match will not be too bad. Yeah, it was a good little thing. I don't know what I feel like I should be saying more about that segment, but there really isn't much else to say. Boss level phenom trolling from Bray Wyatt. I really don't know what to say. Cena versus Rusev. Now this was an interesting one because both guys were getting booed at the beginning, and then both guys were getting cheered a bit, and then the fans kind of... I don't know where the fans were at this match because, like, at the same time as there was let's go Cena sucks, there was also just a background behind that of just straight boos. I think the match was great, actually. Both guys, Cena and Rusev, doing a bunch of really, really dexterous stuff for two guys of their size. The one thing I like, and here's, again, where a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Cena powered out and basically stood up out of the accolade by Rusev, which is usually something I would nitpick for. Usually something where I would say, oh my god, look at that, you know, that's Super Cena bullshit, you know, 101 happening again. But it took a while. It took a long while, and Cena struggled in the accolade. He tried to break one arm out. Rusev basically swept it back and said, nope. Tried to do another arm. Rusev started to sweep it back and say, nope. He tried to sort of push Rusev's arms off to get out of the hole. Because you figure your arms are locked and your head is locked when you're in the accolade or the camel clutch or whatever you want to call it. Cena struggled a lot. I don't mind him powering out of it because he is Cena. He is the big guy. He is the Hulk Hogan in this match. So the babyface comeback is gonna happen. I don't mind it as long as he works for it and is convincing that he worked for it. In the end, a distraction by Lana leads to Cena getting a kick in the nuts, a super kick, and being put back in the accolade and passing the fuck out. Not only did Rusev beat Cena in as clean a way as a heel can, but he made Cena pass out. That's pretty pronounced, and that leaves the door wide open for a rematch at WrestleMania, which means once again at WrestleMania, Cena will be working with a mid-card guy nowhere near the main event scene. This time he'll be elevating the United States Championship in the process, which nobody has been able to do for a long time. Much like last year with Bray Wyatt, this year going into WrestleMania, if this is indeed what happens, if Cena beats Rusev at WrestleMania, I won't mind after the performance he put on tonight and after the selling that he did tonight for Rusev was impressive. Now, were there some, you know, Superman moments and some less than great selling at some points in the match, yada yada yada? Because it's Cena, yes. And because Cena working in the mid-card is still, like, shaking off his main event armor, that's gonna happen. If you're Cena, you're kind of used to playing an indestructible guy. Transitioning your character into a vulnerable character after you've been a mastodon for the past at least 8 years of your career is a difficult transition. And I'm not making excuses for Cena, but I'm willing to forgive it a little bit. Now, I know that might make me sound like a hypocrite and might make everything else I've said about Cena in the past 5 years on this channel seem like shit, and if it does, I apologize, I'm sorry, but, like, I'm looking at it through a very objective and maybe a forgiving mindset, but it is what it is. And let's be real, when was the last time the United States Championship was defended in the semi-main? That's because of Cena, guys. This is a title that has had no prestige. People are like, well, why do we even have the US title? Nobody thinks anything of it. Rusev, who's one of the hottest talents to come out of NXT, and John fucking Cena are battling out in a pretty fucking decent match for the United States Championship in the semi-main of the pre-WrestleMania pay-per-view. Now, is it going to be the semi-main at WrestleMania? Fuck no. Do any of us want to see Cena in the semi-main at WrestleMania? Fuck no. So it works. Maybe looking at this and maybe listening to me saying this will help you guys explain or understand more why I didn't mind his match with Wyatt last year. Maybe. If you don't agree with me, that's cool. Roman Reigns defeating Daniel Bryan to retain his rightful spot at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Okay, all bullshit aside for a second, guys. All the cockiness, all the bravado, all the me being a dick aside, this match was fantastic. This match was absolutely fantastic. A couple spots that I found questionable, like Roman having Bryan in a perfectly good choke position, and Bryan taking it into a really, made a really awkward transition into the S-lock, stuff like that. There were one or two tweaks in this match that weren't so great, but I mean, for the most part, the bloodthirsty out there got to see Roman Reigns get owned and get owned for a long time. And Roman sold, and they said right at the beginning of the match, right as he was beginning to do stuff, what was he going for? What was he going for? He was going for, I believe it was the Superman punch, and he took one good kick to the center region, and commentary played it up as a liver kick or a kidney kick, and JBL went into great detail. He was very good on this, explaining how a punch like that or a kick like that in that region, if you're a fighter, if you're an MMA guy, if you're a kickboxer or a boxer, it'll shut down your whole system. It'll make you immobile, and it was great. It was really, really great, and you know, you saw some spears, you saw some Superman punches, some Samoan drops, some other really, really good shit. You saw a desperation second rope powerbomb from Roman Reigns, which was cool. A lot of good stuff from Bryan too, I'm not gonna lie. But when he started with the silly kicks, I wasn't quiet about my opinion of the silly kicks. You guys know this. If Brock Lesnar, I didn't get to say this in my final say video, the last video I did, but I meant to sign off that video saying if Brock Lesnar has to sell the silly kicks at WrestleMania, I'm fucking out. But there were some silly kicks, not too many. When he had Roman in the center of the ring, it was pretty damn good. Kicks to the head, kicks to the chest, kicks to the head, kicks to the chest. It didn't look as bad as when he does it to somebody like The Big Show, or it would if it was somebody like Brock Lesnar, so wasn't as annoying as it usually was, and I'm giving Bryan credit. Bryan put a hell of a lot of effort into this match. But it was those last few moments where Daniel Bryan got a little too greedy, believed a little too much in his own hype, went for one more Daniel Bryan running knee, and got cut the fuck in half by a spear, and 1, 2, 3. The winner of the Royal Rumble goes on to WrestleMania. Forget who it is. That's the way it's supposed to be. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure as fuck looking forward to WrestleMania. And that's all I gotta say. Hopefully that doesn't make me a dick. Probably does. I'll hear about it down in the box below. Anyways, that's it. I'm heading to bed, guys, because I gotta go to work in the morning. So with that, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. What did you think about Fastlane? Are you going, no, 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 or are you saying, believe that? Bye, guys.
So shine, come a freak like me.